Roxella TV. Roxella TV. Roxella TV. Roxella TV. Roxella TV.
Let's talk about Unleash the Love. It's been a while since you released solo music, and in terms of the message and the positivity of the record and what you're getting across, it really seems to fit in with the political, the socio-political and cultural climate of today. Talk about the record and the backstory.
Well, the backstory is I've always loved the environment, and I've always loved philosophy. I was the most well-read kid in my grade school, junior high, and high school. And although I got what's called a 98 on the Iowa test, which is pretty high, I graduated closer to the bottom of the class than I did the top because I was hanging out with the brothers on the track team. And so, but nonetheless, I was really not good at math, not good at science, but I really loved lyrics, literature, language, social studies, history, you name it. I remember in the 8th grade, I did a buddy report where you do something with another person, my friend Craig Owens, who we ran track with and cross country during high school. But in junior high, we did a report on Adolf Hitler. I read Mein Kampf, The Rise and Fall, all that stuff. And, got a AA on it. So, but I was always fascinated in the spiritual side and the philosophical side and the religious side of things. But I also felt that none of those religions seemed to be lived up to. The tenets of their beliefs seemed to be lived up to by, the population, the people. And how many wars have been conducted in the name of religion, which is a farce and crazy. The Christians would go to the Middle East and have, cut people up, and the Muslims would fight back, and it was just a bloodbath. It was just insane. And it's still like that. It's still like that. And so in the song Make Love Not War, I say, make love not war, what in the world's all the fighting for? Give peace a chance, the earth could use an evolutionary advance. So whether it's the environment or humanity, nature was always a huge thing to me. In my book, Good Vibrations of My Life as a Beach Boy, I talk about chasing butterflies with my friend Tom Emmel, who has 2 PhDs and became a lepidopterist, meaning the study of butterflies, lepidoptery, and is a professor with tenure at University of Florida. And so I used to chase butterflies with that guy. And he went on to Stanford, and I went on tour. So I still have the love of nature. In fact, I took the whole family to my children, wife and kids. We went to see where the monarch butterflies congregate in the winter in the mountains of Mexico, in the mountains of Michoacan. And you look at the trees, and they're not green, they're copper colored because there's so many millions of, hundreds of thousands, let's say, of monarchs clinging there. And these insects are unbelievable. They fly back across, they winter there, and then they fly back across the Gulf of Mexico, and they go to various places, whether it be east or west, and they breed, and they have a second generation, then flies even further, and then they come back. So it's like the butterflies that come back to the exact same trees aren't the same butterfly that left. They're the descendants of them. So it's incredible, the cellular memory on a little brain that big. Oh my gosh, it's a miracle. It's fantastic. They land on the water in the Gulf of Mexico and just to hydrate and rest for a while, and then they take off. So, I mean, how is that done? So nature's been always a huge fascination to me, and I deplore the desecration of the planet, therefore, and I think that Mother Nature has all the time in the world, and humans don't. The humans are messing with the environment, and Mother Nature could end it all with a couple of volcanic eruptions and put everybody on ice, literally. So I think it's, some of these songs perhaps might, ring a bell with, in the sense of, we have to we only have one Earth. There's a song called Only One Earth. It's time for sharing, a time for caring for what it's worth. There's only one Earth, and our survival depends on the Earth. So we have to get, I'm not anti-progress and anti-science or anything, but what I do say is, if science has got us into it, let's get us out of it, you know. And so I promote positive, you know, I mean, when I say I promote in my music, I think about, and when I meditate, and I have meditated a lot since December of 1967 for, 50 years now, and this month, 50 years. And, you know, I've done a lot of thinking about myself, the world, you know, and the environment, the people in it, the value of meditation that potentially could help change the world from chaos and misery and suffering and to positivity and progress and, you know, things like really good health and happiness. Those are good values, and it's all achievable, but it's just you have to contact the source within you and become more energetic and clear and selective in your actions. There's so many actions in the world that are really negative and which maybe you become a little more sensitive to it if you meditate, you know.
What must be joyful for you with this record is 4 of your children, it's like a family affair, are a part of this record, which really is a continuation of how things happen with your family.
It is.
growing up.
I'm glad you caught that. That is so true. It's a family tradition who is yet another incarnation of family singing together. My daughter Haley has a mystical voice. My son Christian has got a fantastic voice. And my daughter Amba sang the lead on the song I wrote with Brian Wilson in 1960, what is it, 3? Is that when President Kennedy was assassinated? November 23rd, was it? 22nd, 1963. Well, we woke in the morning after writing this song to the news that President Kennedy had been taken to the hospital in Dallas. So we knew what that was all about. So in January 1 is when I believe we recorded the song, and it was charged with a lot of emotion. But to see my daughter, Amba, who will be 22 in just a few days, to listen to her sing it, and with us harmonizing and backing her up, it's pretty incredible. And she once asked me several years ago, she might have been 15, 16 years old, she said, "Hey, Dad," "Yeah, Amba." Amba's her name. "Yes, Amba. Did you write the words to The Warmth of the Sun?" I said, "Yeah, I did." She said, "Dad, you're a genius." So to hear that from your teenage daughter, that you don't hear that a lot, you know, from teenage daughters.
You hear other things that
Yeah,
aren't so
you hear plenty of stuff, believe me, but that was very sweet. And so her brother Brian he sang with us on a couple of songs on the album, Only One Earth, but also he played an important part in the song All the Love in Paris, because I asked him, hey, because he's fluent in French, I said, "Brian, how do you say, in French, how do you say all the love?" He says, "Tout l'amour." I said, "How do you say that all the love in Paris?" "Tout l'amour à Paris." Okay, that's great. Let's do it. So the opening chorus, which I came up with the concept for the chorus, my friend Paul Farzo, who produced the song originally, he came up with a really nice melody of the verse, and he wrote one of the verses. I wrote another verse, so it was true collaboration. And more recently, when we reproduced it, Michael Lloyd we asked Dave Koz if he'd come in, and he blew a fantastic solo. I mean, the guy's a well-known player and is a really neat person. But I texted him and told him that, you know, "Dave, you really blew my mind. I love your solo on that." I mean, and he just honked a little bit at the end of it. He says almost a little tip of the cap or the reed or something to a bit of rock and roll there on the way out. So he just, I think that it's such a fantastic romantic song. So I love doing that. And the chorus, it's my son Christian, my son Brian, myself, Paul Farzo, originally Randell Kirsch, who played bass and sang high with us for many years. But then Jeff Foskett came in and did some stuff too. So it was an amazing evolution of that record.
Rock Salad TV. 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 Rock Salad TV.